All right. Welcome, everybody. We are live. Welcome to the discussion tonight. We are going to discuss the new law that just got signed into the effect of the $600 for the taxes of that the president just signed into law on January 1st. I am going to put out a disclaimer. There are going to be some topics in here tonight that you may or may not want to hear. We're going to try to keep this just right on topic of the $600 and the new law that is out there. We are going to have some news articles that we're going to go through. We're going to have some other things. We have some people that are going to be coming up that have done some research on this along with me. The disclaimer I'm going to put out is I am not, nor do I claim to be a tax professional. Anything that you hear tonight, we are here to teach and to learn from each other and to keep the topic as, the new law for the Venmo, the Cash App, the PayPal, the Zelle, all the third-party apps that we use to buy things from each other. Okay, so that we're going to keep that. Now, politics will come into play in this. Okay. We are not here for a Trump rally. We're not here for a Biden rally. I don't care who you support. I don't care who you don't support. We are here because the president that is in the office as of now signed this into law so we can discuss what is going to happen to our pocketbooks, to our checkbooks, wallets, what have you. Now, with that being said, this is going to be an open discussion. Comments are welcome. Questions are more than welcome. We are going to have someone up here in a little bit that is going to be going over this with us in depth. And she's going to take a good part of the show to explain this to you. We are going to stop every once in a while and answer some questions in that segment. We are going to be looking again at some news articles. The StreamYard is pinned. Anybody that is welcome to come up on panel. However, we are going to keep the topic on hand that is going to be tonight. So without further ado, let me welcome my guests up. First, we have Armando. Welcome to the stream.
Thank you.
And we have Ike's Girl. Welcome, my dear. Thank you for being up here. And anybody else that would like to join us, please feel free. I'm doing this mainly for, the sellers, the people that, if you do any auctions, if you do coin roll hunts, if you do trades, if you do this as a little side thing, even if this is a hobby and you just sell to make a little extra money, you're going to want to pay attention. And I'm not just talking about coin people. I'm not just talking about precious metals. I'm talking about anybody in the sports community, sports cards, Pokemon, pop figures, NASCAR. It doesn't matter. Anything that can be bought, sold, traded on YouTube. You guys are going to want to listen to what we've got to do tonight and say tonight. Please share this out. We are going to be up here. This discussion we are going to run for about 2.5 to 3 hours, just so you are aware. And that was more for you people to know after the stream tonight. If you go and you are watching this after this is live, just know we're running about 2.5, 3 hours. So without further ado, let me get to the reason why we are here. Okay. And I was reading this, and I'm going to share screen here. Okay. Wow. Now we're going to go there. All right. If you guys can see this, we're not talking about her or the video. Let's get rid of that. All right, guys. So what this is, do you use PayPal or Venmo? How IRS 1099-K tax changes will or will not impact you in 2022. Okay. Selling Unlike Etsy and eBay, the IRS doesn't want you to forget its share of your wages. You know, they got to dip their hand in your pocket. Under the American Rescue Plan Act, people who sell goods or services on platforms like Etsy, eBay, and other sites that use third-party transaction networks like PayPal, Cash App, and Venmo will be issued a tax form called a 1099-K for online sales totaling $600 or more starting next year, which is starting this year. Now, for those to get that broken down, that is $50 or more a month. Anything over $50, you're getting a 1099-K per month. Currently, online sellers only receive these forms if they had at least 200 transactions worth and combined 20,000 or more. That's what you would get this year. So if you had over 200 transactions last year in 2021 or $20,000 or more through PayPal, Cash App, or anything, you will get a 1099 this year. If you did not, you will not get a 1099-K this year. Just make that clear. But there has been confusion on social media sites about whether this change will impact people who use those services for everyday transactions. Here's what we know. Anything over 600 requires a 1099. It doesn't matter if you sell online as a side hustle or a full-time by early 23, and online sellers could receive a 1099-K for sales made in 2022. If you sold $600 or more worth of goods, you could be paying the tax man. Yes, he signed that into law, or at least needing to account for the income you earned on your tax return. This has always been a requirement when filing your taxes. The American Rescue Plan Act, that's the law he signed. That's the law he signed. It's called the American Rescue Plan Act. Only broadens the reporting needed to collect tax information once a taxpayer nears or reaches 600 in goods and services transactions. The previous threshold was 20,200 transactions, what I said last year. Who will be affected? The IRS wants to make sure it's seeing all income on tax returns of part-time resellers and business owners, including online sales. Platform users such as eBay, Etsy, Uber, and others that use third-party payment systems will be the ones to get a 1099-K. The federal agency already expects to hear from anyone who has net earnings from self-employment or 400 or more. Well, I have to pay taxes when sending and receiving money on PayPal or Venmo. Okay, these are going to be, I'm going to talk about this paragraph after I read it for a moment. This new threshold change, according to PayPal, is currently only for payments received for goods and services transactions. So this doesn't include things like paying your family or friends back using PayPal or Venmo for dinner, gifts, shared trips, etc. Now, you will have to prove, and we'll get into this, you will have to prove to the IRS once they give you a 1099-K to your tax person or whatever, that back in March 3rd, 2022, I went to dinner and I sent somebody, or they sent me $100 for their portion of the dinner because I was paying for dinner because they forgot their credit card. You'll have to prove that. So you will want to start keeping receipts. iScroll is going to get into a lot more of in-depth here in a few minutes on that versus what I'm doing now. Okay? How the IRS know whether I am paying for goods or services. PayPal and Venmo uses their tag transactions as either personal, friends and family, or goods and services when they are purchasing an item or paying for a service. Selecting that tag allows those transactions to become eligible for coverage under PayPal or Venmo's Purchase Protection Program. Is the 1099-K threshold change specific to PayPal and Venmo? No. This is where you guys need to, it is industry-wide for all third-party settlement organizations. That means everyone. Cash App, Venmo, Google Pay, they're all included, okay, that you may use to accept payments for the sale of goods and services. It also impacts all financial institutions that consumers use, not just PayPal and Venmo, such as bank accounts and other ways people can send and receive money according to the Act. Okay, so like right here, according to PayPal, while banks and payment service providers like PayPal and Venmo are required by the IRS to send customers a Form 1099, if they meet the 600 threshold amount, there are certain amounts that they may be included off the general. For example, we're going to skip a little bit. For example, if you purchased a couch at $1,200 and sold it for $800, this amount would not be subject to income tax. Sellers are encouraged to speak with a tax professional when receiving their 1099-Ks to determine whether specific amounts are classified as taxable income. Now, that right there, you will have to prove you bought that couch for $1,200 and sold it for a loss. If you cannot prove that, it could possibly be taxed. That is one thing we will get into here in a little bit. This is the last paragraph and we'll get off of this. Still trying to figure out whether you're online selling lies? Check out the IRS website for more information to gauge how your taxes may change here, or go to PayPal to learn more. Now I am going to click on this. We're going to X out of that. Say this here is for the IRS, 5 things to know. It limits hobbies and expenses, but we're going to get into that here in just a little bit. Let me remove that for now, and we will get back. So without further ado, Ike's Girl has been doing a lot of research on this. She has been doing a lot of writing and everything with that. So I am going to let
sweetie,
her
why
take
don't
the
you
floor
let
from here.
Armando go first?
I do have a question for you, Minnie. Okay,
Uh-huh.
some of the things I sold today, yesterday, since the first, I bought back last year, year before. If you don't have receipts for what you paid, is a logbook of what you bought it for and sold it for good enough?
Maybe I can answer that question. The IRS will overlook things if they're within reasonable amounts, and that means if they go online and say that specific couch was worth $600, but he paid $400, they're not going to question you. If they think that what you put down for a certain item is out of the realm of possibility, you run the risk of getting audited, and I'm telling you straight up, nobody wants an audit because they will crawl up every orifice in your life. Okay. And they are not satisfied until they find every penny. So stay within the realm of a cost. If you do not have a receipt, have somebody else write you a receipt and date it to that time. I don't know. I'm giving very bad information right now, but if it's to save you from going through an audit, I'm going to do it.
Okay, thank you.
It gets into a lot of icky stuff. I really tell everybody, keep your receipts. Ugh. Create a paper trail.
So for you guys here, and this is really for, this doesn't necessarily mean the buyers right now. So if you're just a buyer and you're just sending money all the time for your collection, you're not really selling anything, this isn't really going to affect you. Right now, the way this is signed, it's only affecting people that have money coming in. Okay, not money that's just going out. So you're not going to get taxed or audited for that. I want to make that. Yeah, I want to make that clear. You're not going to get. We're not intentionally taxed for that. They're just going to tax you for if you start selling off part of your hobby or stuff like that. Even at a garage sale, say if you decide that you want to let somebody Cash App you, Venmo, PayPal you, whatever, be very careful of that, because you could get taxed on your garage sale if it is over an X amount of dollars. So that's be very leery and be very careful.
Well, same with lunches. I mean, if you have a reoccurring lunch every month and 3 people or whatever pay you back $25 a piece, they're going to start questioning what you're doing. So you got to be seriously careful about what you portray as what's going on. So, do you want me to start?
I don't have any more.
Their pens and papers. Mark Gulick, I'm going to answer your question with a question. Is it a one-time thing, or is it happening every month? If it's happening every month, you're going to be under suspicion. Especially if you get any kind of federal aid, housing, food stamps, cash money, whatever it be, unemployment, all of that stuff is going to be looked at. If you're getting any kind of federal money, you have to report extra money. So be careful about what you're doing. They're cracking down. That's who they're cracking down on. Honestly, the people that are getting federal money, the people that are getting any kind of federal help, because it's all supposed to be reported, including Social Security. All right. You can only make so much a month with Social Security before they start deducting it from your checks. Okay, so you want me to go ahead and get started on mine?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was over here having internet issues for a second again. That might happen with me tonight, guys. If that does, just feel free to keep it going. I'll be back as soon as my internet gets it going again.
Okay. Well, okay. First of all, what I'm going to say is going to upset some people, and I'm really sorry that it does. It needs to stop, and you're putting the people that are doing it are putting the whole community at risk. Okay. Over the last couple of months, I've seen a few posts within streams where people are offering to use food stamps in lieu of silver or thereby into a game. Stop that right now. Shut it down in your stream when it happens. That is a federal offense. It is a felony. And anybody and everybody involved, including the owner of the stream, could be in a lot of trouble, including conspiracy to commit fraud, conspiracy to defraud the government, felony charges after the fact. I'm telling you, it's nasty business, and they don't stop at just the $5. They will go back to that person's beginning of getting those benefits and take it forward. That's why when you hear about these cases, how they busted a company, for exchanging money for food stamps, they say it's like $30,000 or $3 million. It's because they go back to that person from the beginning and they add that all up because they're not sure where they started selling them. So don't let that happen on your streams. Shut it down. Tell the person you're timed out because of this reason. If it happens again, you're blocked. You don't need that person's BS coming and ruining your life. Trust me.
Anybody, I want to real quick before I really get started, I can have up to 6 people up here on the panel. If anybody likes to come up and they know something, about this and you'd like to share, it's an open discussion. Don't just feel that we're up here, telling you. You guys can feel free to get up here. I'll let you up on panel and you will have a chance to be heard as well. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I'm going to kind of address Gibby's question there, taking pictures. Don't put them on your PC. Get an external drive, put them on CDs or whatever, because an overload of pictures will shut your computer down. Just not enough room for the programs to maneuver. Unless
you do what I do, and I'm going to follow up with Ike's girl on this. I don't do that, but I have an external hard drive of a 2 terabyte external hard drive that I train them all. I put them all on there.
I highly suggest you move them to an external hard drive, or get a copier or get a printer that has a copier on it. Copy it and open a hard paper file. Okay, you're going to need it anyway. All right, so let's see. All the cash apps are involved. It's not just one or two. It's all of them. Whatever you can think of.
Okay, Armando, you're fine.
Whatever program you can think that moves money, it's going to be involved. Banks. Oh gosh, I lost the word. title companies, all of them, they're all involved. You will get a 1099, and you won't get it when you think you get it. They have until the 31st of January to have it sent out. That means you may get it February 15th, but they have to have it sent out by January 31st. That is the law. And trust me, some of these bigger companies take a long time to print out these. When you get a 1099, it is 3 copies. It is a triple copy. The company that prints it keeps one. The IRS gets one, and the person receiving the 1099 gets one. So there's no way around getting around that 1099.
So real quick, that means PayPal is keeping a copy that they sent you. The
Yes, they
IRS
do.
just got a copy. The IRS just got a copy, or Cash App, whoever just got a copy. You know, the IRS got a copy,
No,
and
no,
you
no. The
got mail.
IRS is totally separate from these Cash App places.
No. What I'm saying is, for the 1099, okay, PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, they're going to have a copy if they send you one. The IRS is going to have a copy, and you're going to get a copy. That's what Ike's girl is saying.
Yes. Most of the time, it'll come on regular printable paper because it's easier on them, and they shoot all that information digitally to our IRS, which goes almost overnight. It just goes right into their computer, their servers, and the server does what it does, and it puts it into each person's file.
Welcome, Texas
Okay.
Joe.
Howdy, howdy.
So, business versus personal. At this point, with what's going on, it doesn't matter whether it's business or personal. If it goes through one account, you're pretty screwed. Separate out your business and your personal and do it immediately. Open a different account, use a different Cash App, use a different debit card, credit card, whatever it is, designate it specifically for that business. You have to literally go down and get a business license, people, through your auditor's office, your county auditor. Once you do that, you call the IRS and tell them you need what is called a TIN. It is a tax identification number. It is totally separate from your Social Security number. When you open a personal bank account, everything is under your Social Security. When you open a business account, everything is under your TIN. The letter T as in Tom, the letter I as in ice, the letter N as in Nancy. TIN.
Taxpayer ID number.
Okay? That's what you're going to do all your business through IRS under your TIN number. And trust me, all your personal information, your Social Security, everything will be attached to that number. Okay? Business license are you have to file for a fictitious name and get it approved. You have to file for a business license and get it approved before they'll issue it. And it's, depending on state or whatever, it could be as low as $35. It could be as high as $250. It just depends on what the auditor is going to attach to you. From that point on, you are in a business tax mode. Okay? I highly suggest you show a loss the first 3 years, if at all possible. There's reasons behind that I'm not going to get into. There's a lot of accounting stuff you have to know long before that. And what I am doing today is just touching the very, very filmiest surface, like cling wrap over a bowl of soup. Just that thin. And it's going to take a while. Okay, we got through that. When you file for a business license, you file it under an LLC. That is a limited liability company. That way, if anybody decides they want to wild hair up their butt to sue you, they can only sue your company. They cannot get to your personal stuff. There's a little bit in between that in the company. Once it's yours, through owner's equity, you transfer it from the business into personal, and that way it cannot be touched. That's why a lot of your owner equity counts try to stay as minimal as possible. That's a big, long, whole month-long learning session, and I'm not going to get into it.
Welcome, Big Red. Thanks for joining us, sir.
What's going on?
Well,
So
Canadians are
Texas
exempt
Joe.
from this law. Right, Arthur?
Okay.
The Texas, hang on real quick for a minute, Ike, before you fully get started. Texas Joe, you did put in the chat, you've been doing 1099s for a while now.
Yeah.
So
So I've
maybe
been
you can get us.
I've been self-employed for a long time, since 95. So I'm kind of familiar with, what the burden is of doing taxes and keeping records and things like that. And that's the limit of my expertise. Now, what you were reading as refers to the law, how they're going to handle, PayPal and Cash App and all those accounts and things like that. My expertise doesn't lend to that at all. I just know how to run a business, and I know how to fill out a 1099, and I know if you're running a profit, you need to pay them quarterly. Otherwise, you're going to pay a penalty. And, I know what the write-offs are and things that you need to track, expenses, etc. Because a lot of, if a lot of what,
Yeah, I'm going to be going over a lot of things like that, Texas.
yeah, a lot of things that people do, those are expenses of your business. And I think Ike's girl referred to, business license, but I think it's more colloquially known as like a DBA, doing business as. You'll need that.
DBA, yeah.
Yeah, you'll need that to get
Well,
a business account,
yeah.
things like that. Now, what you certainly don't want to do is commingle funds. Okay.
Absolutely, positively, 100%.
Yeah, what you were talking about, having separate cards for everything, is actually quite paramount to keeping your books in order, because everything goes well until you get audited. And the problem with getting audited is they have unlimited resources, right? And I've been audited plenty of
They
times.
can make your life
Yeah,
stop in its track.
Yes, you're going to spend a lot of money defending yourself and finding people to defend you and things like that.
A lot of times,
IRS.
people that are audited lose everything they have and everything their family has too.
It's happened. Yes, it's not the end of the world, but it's the start of a government colonoscopy, which is not good at all.
Hang on a minute. I'm going to answer
Okay.
these questions in chat here in a minute. All right.
Yeah, I was just going to say we're getting a few questions in chat. But guys, your questions, we are reading them. We will get to them in order. Armando, we will answer yours first, and we'll get down to Gibbies, plumbers. We'll go down the list from when the questions start rolling in. Yeah. We're not ignoring you, but it's just going to be, we're trying to keep this topic on a certain level. Like I said, politics, we'll get involved here a little bit, but I'm going to try to bring it back in. I am not worried about politics on this channel.
Right. So, I mean, you can do a DBA if you want, but that's only if, you're moving quite a bit of money through and things like that. It's really a hobby for you. You really don't need, a DBA or a TIN. You just basically, on your tax return, you fill out a Schedule C because you have a small business, and you list your expenses, you list your revenue, you subtract your debits from your credits, and then that's your net profit or net loss. And that actually can offset income that you have, maybe even, W-2 income or other 1099 income because you're a contractor.
W-2 income is from a place you work at, so it's right. Different than this.
Right, but if you file, if you don't get you don't have to get a TIN.
I highly suggest that you do.
Well, I mean, it's appropriate.
Seriously, keep it totally separate.
Right. You need to seek out a professional to kind of advise you on which is most appropriate.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to go over, and I'm going to show them how to keep down their CPA bills too, because by doing a lot of what I'm going to show them,
right,
all they're going to have to do is present their last spreadsheet to the accountant that's going to help them with their taxes, and everything should already be in order, and it will take nothing and cost nothing to do the taxes for that business. So
Right.
yeah.
But I mean, if you're a hobbyist who occasionally sells coins that exceeds $800, right?
Yeah, well, even a hobbyist, if they sell a $50 coin once a month, they're going to get a 1099K.
Well, that's fine, but you don't need to go out and form a DBA in a corporation and spend all kinds of money
No, but they're going to have to pay
meet
taxes on that.
compliance on taxes. That's what I'm saying. You know,
And
if you move on,
you can almost guarantee taxes on even the hobby money is going to be anywhere from 15 to 20%, depending on what you claim. So
well, it depends on what your
I would
expenses
just like to
are.
say,
I
I
mean,
think it,
if I sold a $50
well,
coin,
it
but
doesn't matter
cost
what
me-
the expenses are, Texas Joe. What it is how much you bring in versus what the cost of doing business is. You take that out, whatever's left is going to be taxed.
right. So assets.
So that, yeah, I'm going to go over a lot of that stuff. I'm just going to give them a very basic understanding of what they need to be doing and how they need to be recording stuff so they can protect themselves.
Okay.
That's all I'm doing. I'm just going over some real basic stuff. I mean,
Yeah, no,
like I said, sell it like your Glad wrap over a bowl. It's how thin what I'm going to give you is. It's going to take a long time, though. So.
Okay. You have more to go over then, Ike's girl?
Oh gosh, yes. Oh my gosh.
Go ahead. I didn't mean to. I don't want to occupy time. You
Okay.
go ahead.
I'm going to go back to Armando first, or Mike Gullick and Lambo Stacker. Are you an attorney or a paralegal? Neither. Okay. But forensic accountant without a CPA. Let's put it that way. And when you do stuff like that, you have to know the laws. You have to understand the banking laws, the housing laws, personal laws. I mean, it's just so many different avenues of legal stuff you have to maneuver. So yes, I'm pretty acquainted with what's going on. Okay, money maniac. So is she saying if you sell over 600 in profit, I will have to have a tax ID? No, you don't have to have a tax ID. Okay, that's the risk you run. Tax ID only separates out what you're doing from your personal. Okay, they don't cost anything. You call the IRS or you fill out their forms and you say, I want a tax ID. They will send it to you in the mail in a couple of weeks. Trust me, it's 3 to 6 weeks.
it's called an EIN number, employee identification number. I have one.
Well, no, an employee identification number is for somebody that pays employees.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, but I had to get it even though I'm still a sole proprietary. In certain states, I still had to get one.
It's all the same thing. It's just an identification number for the IRS away from your personal life.
Right.
Okay. It will involve your personal life because they want to know who they're going to go after. What would you put your business under? It's just a personal home business. And I'm sure I haven't looked at it lately because I haven't been in the realm for a couple of years, but I'm sure that they have the different categories set out. You will get a big packet when you fill out your license. It'll tell you what you need to do. All the instructions will be there from the auditors, the county auditor.
Yes, Billy P, that is right. It's not the profit, it's the money that you move that they're questioning. And it's not the money that you move, it's the money that comes in. It's not the money that you pay out.
Yeah, if you guys will let me get through this, I'm going to go over it kind of fast, slow enough so you guys can take notes. I highly suggest take notes. I'm going to go through real fast. I'm going to hit receivables, accounts receivables. I'm going to hit accounts payable. I'm going to hit owner's equity. I'm going to kind of show you how to start your books. You're going to have to close your books every month and reopen them, and the things you should be doing on a weekly basis at the very minimum to keep up with everything going on. You do not want to get behind on this stuff. I do want you to understand, don't think for one moment that you think you're smarter than the IRS. You're not. About the time that we were getting color TVs, they were already using big, huge computers. We don't know about it. And trust me, what you think you know, they're 10 times further ahead in the future. I know somebody had said about using money orders or cashier's check and sending it to them. It doesn't matter. It's still tracked. Okay. I highly suggest you guys be as honest as possible, because if you're found to be dishonest, it's not going to be pretty for you. If they find that you're lying one time, they're going to think you're a liar all the time, and you won't ever get rid of that. So be honest. It's so easy to be honest. Okay, so in accounting, we do everything by a double entry bookkeeping system. You know, if we add money, we also put it into another account from where it's coming from. All right. So it's going to what we would call a checking account, and it's coming from, say, a person that owes you money, which is a receivable. All right. Those are people that are known as receivables, but on their side, we're known as a payable. So it's really complicated, and I'm just going to go over a few details. And if you want more information on how to do accounting, I highly suggest to everyone you take an accounting 101 course at your local college. It's very informative, very, very educational, and it'll keep you out of a lot of trouble. The things you want to track, and I'm gonna, if you don't know anything about Excel or Google spreadsheets or whatever you want to use a spreadsheet. They're easy, they're fast, they're efficient. You can do all kinds of mathematical equations through them. Learn it fast. Keep your stuff there. Especially if you don't have an accounting program on your computers. Things you want to track. You want to track your precious metals, especially if you're in a business. You know, your silver, your copper, your gold, platinum, whatever. Keep each individual one in a different area. Track your mint sets differently. Your box searches. Buy in your box searches. And then deduct what you take back to the bank. Then you'll know how much you keep from each and every box. You know, your pennies, your nickels, your dimes, quarters, halves, even your bill searches. If you keep it, it becomes an asset. Okay? It increases your own personal wealth. Track it. Items sold. It's the same thing. If you're going to turn around and sell that stuff, deduct it from the things you're tracking. So you buy a silver round, you buy it for $50. Or, well, let's go a little bit more into reality. You buy it for $35. Okay? You turn around and you sell that coin for $50. All right? You think you've made a profit of 15, but you haven't. Because you didn't take into account your time to sell that coin, the envelope you have to put it in, the postage you have to send it out in, the sticker that you're putting in there to keep your advertising going, the little card you said thank you on, the post-it notes so you can identify all the different items you're selling in one day, who they're going to. All of those things are deductible from that purchase. So you're talking postage of $4.50, $5 from your 15. Now you're down to 10. The envelope is, you know, you buy a pack of 12 for $5, divide that $5 by 12. That's how much that envelope is. You deduct that. You know, take a penny or whatever, your ink, your pencils, your papers, everything, your flips, your tubes, your airtights, all of that stuff is deductible. The printer ink, keep track of all that stuff. I mean, seriously, those are all under office supplies. Your furniture comes under a whole different account than consumable items. Your consumables are the paper, the pen, the stuff you use and throw away. Furniture is a little different. When you buy it, it tells you right on the little tag, it's got a 3-year warranty or whatever. That means that's how long they expect that furniture to last. Take that price, divide it by 36 months. Every month, you're going to deduct that amount as a depreciable amount. It is a deduction in your taxes. Equipment is a different altogether from furniture and consumables. Computers, printers, whatever, your desktop, your laptops, your phones, all of those are equipment. They go into a totally separate category. Payroll versus owner's equity. Payroll is something you pay to somebody else for helping you. Owner's equity is literally everything you do. It goes through owner's equity somehow, some way. It either comes out of your bank account because you had to buy it, you had to purchase it for your business. That is whether. Let me put a scenario forward so we can kind of understand it a little better. You go and you work at a different job and you get paid payroll every week. Out of that every weekly pay, you put $100 into your home business. That $100 has to go through owner's equity before it goes into, say, the cash for the company. So you can use it to purchase things. Okay. Everything comes down to what goes back to the owner's equity. And if you take out a lot of money, then that's going to be taxed. If you use that money for anything other than business, it's going to be taxed as a personal business tax. And the personal business tax is higher than payroll taxes. I want to go over your stickers. Stickers are considered advertising, and it's a totally different account from everything. You use it for advertising, you get to deduct it. If you go out and have lunch with people, I highly suggest you take plenty of time in your lunch to discuss your business. 15 minutes. Because then you get to deduct that lunch as a business expense. Okay? Cars. Well, now cars, houses, utilities, it's kind of consumable, but it's not at the same time. The use of your house. Figure out your square footage of your house and then figure out the square footage that you use for your business. Now, as an example, I'm going to say you have 1,000 square foot house. I know it's a little bit small, but just for general purposes.
Yeah. So let's get back into, because some people it's getting really hard for them to follow. So what we're here for tonight is keep it, within the the $600. I know there's a lot to go over with receipts.
I know, but this is all part of that.
I know, and people are having a problem following along, which is fine. I knew this was going to happen. It's okay. But that's why we have this, so that way I'm going to be bringing up sharing a screen here in a little bit straight from the IRS. That is 5 little paragraphs, and it kind of will. Everything that Ike's girl is saying, it will kind of simplify it a little bit when she gets done.
Okay, one more thing. Plumber's in here saying something. Your accountant. Accountants charge you a lot per hour. They charge their prices because when they charge their prices, they get to take and pay their employees who are doing all the tracking for you. They're $50 to $250, $500 an hour sometimes to make ends meet of what you're doing. Minimize what you're giving to your accountant. Do the footwork. You will save yourself thousands of dollars. thousands, and I'm not kidding you 1 minute, thousands of dollars by tracking this stuff yourself. Okay.
Texas
That
Joe
way-
says TurboTax will do all this for people. It will do a lot of this for you. Yes. But with TurboTax, I've learned, because I do use them and I use them for the business. If you're going to use them, they will track your stuff for you.
but they're going to charge
with
you
receipts. With receipts.
Yeah.
You can do it yourself like I do, scanning them all in, blah, blah, blah. And it will keep track and everything with this. Receipts. If you don't get anything else out of iScroll tonight, just remember this. Receipts are going to be your best friend in everything.
We call it a paper trail in accounting.
There you go.
It's called a paper trail. Get yourself some file folders. Each and every one of them, each and every person you sell to or buy from should have their own separate folder. Furniture, utilities, your house, whatever. It all should have its own separate folder.
And this also goes for people that, I don't know what you all do for a living, but they also put in, this is for Uber, Lyft, Grubhub, DoorDash, Uber Eats. If you have anything like that, you'll get a 1099 for it, because it's going straight into their app, and that's going straight into your account. So this isn't just for goods and services on precious metals, but this is for buying and selling anything or using anything.
I'm going to also put out here, and before long, and I expect it to happen with what's going on with this $600 thing. I don't see it happening like in the next month or 2 or 3 even, but I saw something today that really worried me. I suspect everybody that's doing their own, home business type thing, is going to have to start doing their own 1099s for other people. So if you buy over $600 from somebody, just like these cash apps and stuff, you're going to have to start producing 1099s too for the people you buy from. So be very aware of that. There's a lot of things that are coming around that's going to squeeze people to death, and you're going to have to track. Now, before I move on,
I'm reading it.
Before I move on, I do want to kind of explain this housing thing. A lot of people kind of understand it. A lot of people don't. So if you don't mind giving me 5 more minutes. If you're using your house, we started off with 1,000 feet. I'm just giving out examples here. And you use 10% of that house for your business. And let's say you pay $1,000 for that house per month. I know it's very weird, but just follow along. Using 10% of that house for your business, every month you get to deduct $100 for using that business. Okay? The same with utilities, 10% of your utilities. You literally need to figure out very closely, give or take 5 feet, 10 feet, how much space you're using, and that's how much you take out of your utilities, your house, and stuff like that as part of your business deductions. Okay. Currently, mileage on a car is 58.5 cents a mile. Track it with a mileage book. Okay. So you can deduct that 58.5 cents a mile. When you're doing that, you can either take that mileage that the government says, or follow along very closely with how much mileage you do use, how much gas and oil you use, the depreciation of your vehicle. And it's not both, it's either or. You can't take both, you have to take one. So if you're going to do it by mileage, then stay by mileage. If you're going to track every little expense and say mechanical items, track them, because whatever percentage you use of that vehicle, the mechanical on it is that same percentage. but you can't do both. You can only do one. A lot of things with the IRS are just one. Motorcycle mileage is 56.5%. And if you're using a government vehicle, shame on you. But if you do, it's only 18 cents per mile is what you get. So that's current for 2022 mileage. After the basics.
All right. All right. So I'm going to present myself for a minute. Rosebud in chat. I'm going to show this because, like I said, this is an open discussion. This is kind of what Rosebud has put out. And I apologize about the glare. Let me just get this. Come on with it. Bring it down. There we go. But no. Come on. Come on. This camera hates me. So this is the Google Sheet you guys can do. This is what he does. 3 categories: inventory, expense, and I don't know. 8 more categories would be coins, supplies, postage, printer, ink, and that's if you print from home. Some of us do. Transportation, cell phone usage, donations. The other 2, hang on. Bank pickup and trades. And then and so there's another way of doing that. He said whether you use something like this, or you use the old box to put all your receipts in, filing cabinet, for that nature. I read it. Rosebud, I don't think you mind if I read the email. Okay, so whether you use a spreadsheet, which you should, or just manila envelopes or boxes, all your receipts should be put into each of 3 categories for payments, and then each of 8 more categories. So he's saying when you do it, kind of like what Ike's girl is saying, paper trail, he's kind of saying the same thing, but categorize your stuff. People that like Texas Joe, a few other people in here that already do this, they already know this. We're here for the people that don't normally do this. You might want to start thinking about it. That's all we're basically saying. Because a lot of us are just, hobbyists. We try to trade things around to each other. Maybe we're looking to fill a book. Maybe we're looking for a few dimes or what here or there. But what we're saying is anything over 50 a month or 600 a year, you're going to get a 1099K. Now that could be, that can be from each one. That doesn't mean, okay, I did 60,000. So that doesn't mean you're going to get 60,000 from Cash App, 60,000 from PayPal, blah, 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 blah. That means if you did anything over 600 on Cash App, they will send you one. PayPal, they will send you one. Venmo, they will send you one, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's what we're saying. And to prove what is expenses and to prove what is not expenses, that is what Ike's girl is really talking about. Paper trail. It's just to save yourself. And again, some people already know this. Some people are learning. So that's kind of why I'm giving her a little bit more time than I want Texas Joe, because he has been doing this, like he said, for a few decades now. Rosebud, feel free if you'd like to come up and join, or anybody that's done this for a while, feel free to share your knowledge for people that haven't done this and that are here trying to learn, or that will be watching this after the fact that we're trying to learn. Ike Scroll, go ahead and please continue. Okay,
Lambo made a comment. Oh, I lost that in my boating accident. That's not gonna work. I'm sorry. Even if you're just joking around, I'm gonna put this out there. It's not gonna work. There is a law that said things are written in layman's term, and there is no excuse for you not knowing. Okay, and it will be used in a court of law. If it goes that far, it will be used. Laws are written in such a way that if you don't know what the word is, you can look it up in a dictionary and find out what the definition is. Okay, so giving a lame excuse trying to get out of something isn't going to work with the federal government. They've heard them all. They've heard all the excuses in the world. They don't play. So don't play with them, because they play a lot worse than you could ever think of. I'm just trying to keep you guys on the up and up and keep you out of trouble. They will not give you an inch. They won't give you a quarter of an inch. Okay. Amortization is a big word for making a schedule for payments, interest, and balance due. Okay. Fortunately, you can deduct interest payments on computers, on cars, on houses, on, whatever else you're making payments on. But only those interest payments you've made in that year. Okay. So it's highly advisable to keep the amortization that you're going to get from whomever you're taking a loan out from. Any loan, whether you see the money or not, you sign that paper, you're responsible for it. So anything that you don't read in that contract, you're going to get in trouble for if you haven't done so. I highly suggest to everybody, do not sign your name to any contract until you've read every word in that contract, including the stuff that's one font.
I read contracts all the time. I still have
Yeah.
lawyers review them though.
You
So,
should.
I mean,
Yeah, I was gonna say, Texas Joe, you've got a few decades under your belt, like we were saying a little earlier.
yeah.
Um,
My background's real estate, and I'm
okay,
kind of
well,
familiar with.
Well, you're in a deeper thing. You're in real estate law and banking laws.
Well, not so much banking, but yeah, real estate laws. The big thing, the key here is number one, don't panic. This is going to be a
Yeah.
good thing for most people, I think. Number two, you got plenty of tools out there that are going to be able to help you get to where you need to be, so that you can file your taxes right, no matter what method you go. If you want to do it yourself, which is what most small businesses do, then just do it yourself. If you want to, spend a lot of money on attorneys and accountants and things like that, more power to you. But I mean, there's a cost justification for doing all that. Number three is use your common sense. If you're running a business and it's business related, you want to save all those receipts. You want to use the apps that you can put on your phone to track mileage, because most people are going to do the mileage deduction as opposed to doing it the long way, where you're keeping track of gas, and you're keeping track of insurance, you're keeping track of all the maintenance you do on the car. Just the mileage deduction is the easiest way to go. If you can dedicate a car or vehicle to the business, great. If you can't, you need to keep track of all that separately, how many miles you're driving, things like that. So don't panic. There's lots of tools, at your disposal. And three, y'all don't realize this, but you got a lot more expenses than you think. All your expenses are going to be deductible. What you cost to advertise, internet. I wouldn't suggest getting your, personal home and utility bills involved, just because it flags too many things. It's not worth the aggravation. Plus, I think once you put a pen to paper and you do the computations, you're not even
That's
going to
what I was
need.
going to do next.
Yeah, you're not even going to
about
need
the
that deduction.
computations.
So right now, to keep it clean and pure, just track what's coming in, right? What you collect from what your cost is for these items, what it costs to ship it, what it costs for you to wrap it, all this stuff. That's all deductible 100%. Now, as far as meals are concerned, it has to be you can have a conversation about coins at lunch. Doesn't mean it's business stuff. The purpose of that, I wouldn't even suggest that people bother with meals. It's just going to be too small a number for it to
Right.
matter.
Right.
You know, it's just because it's not dollar for dollar. It's a skewed kind of formula for that, and you've got to spend a lot of money. Now,
Okay,
if I take
so
a
But-
trip to Las Vegas to view some coins, right, and the goal of that trip is to conduct business in the business I'm in, then you can utilize, you know, those expenses as part of your business costs and things like
Yep.
that. So there's lots of things that are going to offset, you know, what's coming through PayPal or Cash App and all that stuff. The big thing is you got to go through the trouble and the aggravation of doing it, right? But I think the end of the road is going to be a plus for people, especially if it's a side gig, because you can offset it against other income. So I mean, if you earned $50,000 last year, but you lost $10,000, you know, selling coins, then well, the odds of the IRS you only earn 40, so you're gonna get back some money if you have a tax burden. Now, you're always gonna pay Social Security and Medicaid.
Yeah, and I haven't touched on that either yet.
yeah,
Well,
so
I'm not
yeah,
sure you need to because you're always gonna pay
Yeah.
that no matter what.
Yeah, because I mean, I think most people that we need to focus on is not too in depth on it, but I think what we need to focus on
Yeah.
really is just how's it going to affect them. Keep it. I know keeping it simple is hard especially when you start this. If someone could take care of that stupid bot for me, that'd be great. Thank you, Billy P. Plumber. Thank you guys.
Billy.
This is mainly the reason I hosted this tonight is mainly for us sellers, for, the coin roll hunt people, for people, people
Right.
that, on trade day and flea markets, when we're on platforms where we can buy and sell and things of that nature, it will affect you. And it will not affect the ones, as of right now, it will not affect you if you're just in there buying and spending money. The moment you send in an email, the moment you decide, okay, well, maybe I want to sell an item, this is where this starts affecting you.
Right.
This is where Jenny, we're not even going to talk about stocks tonight because that is crypto and stocks is way out of the realm of what we're doing here tonight.
Right.
That is a whole different discussion at a different time, sweetie. Because
Well,
honestly, I don't know.
It's kind of easy, actually. If you just leave them there, leave them there. The minute you take it out is when you end up paying taxes on it.
Yeah, I think
Right.
the big question that needs to be answered, I think for most people have pretty sizable stacks. I'm assuming that are
Yeah, I
worth
would
money.
assume.
If that is a personal asset, how do you separate that from a business asset where you won't pay on inventory, things like that? So there's
That's
some
an easy
technical
question.
Okay, go ahead and answer it.
Yeah, go ahead, Ike's.
If you've got, say, $1,000 in personal stack, okay, but you want to sell, say, I don't know, $100 worth of that stack.
Right.
You take it out of your personal and you put it through the owner's equity I was talking about. You add it to the company and you deduct it from your personal. And this is where accounting comes in. So now what you've done is you
If it's
taken
personal,
down
why
your
is it on
personal stack value and you raised your business equity up. Okay. Then you turn around from owner's equity and you disperse it through to what you're selling. And then when you sell it, you take and you spread those numbers out through wherever it goes. See, and there's a lot involved. And this is why I tell everybody, take an accounting 101, 102 course. It teaches you a lot about what you need to do.
Right.
You can take the
How do I
whatever
prove
you have out of your business
it?
as well through owner's equity, take it out of the business and put it back into your personal stack.
Okay.
It just works
Okay,
reverse.
I want to follow up on that real quick, and then we'll get back to that in just a second, because that is for a lot of the people here. That is a good question, Sir Golden. I said we would answer at the end of the segments, but I wanted to address this one. Sir Gold said, what about Social Security? How will it affect our benefit money once we start getting taxed each year?
Well, I
A lot
did
of
go
people
over
are
that
on
at the
Social
beginning.
Security. Sir Gold wasn't here. He was busy
Yeah.
with the tire, so he didn't
No,
hear it.
I will.
I
You
can't
want me
speak
to
to
go
any of
back
that, so
over
I'm
it
going to
for
step
those?
down.
Okay. Federal benefits, whether it's
So if
Social Security, TANF, which is welfare, unemployment, all of anything that involves money, getting money from the federal government, you have to tell them how much you're making. If you don't, you run the risk of losing everything forever. Because once you screw it up once, you will never get it back. You, for Social Security, you can earn so much, and check into it with Social Security. I think for people on disability, it's like the same amount that you make. People on full Social Security can make a little bit more. Check with your Social Security office and see how much you can make. However, you pass a certain point, they start deducting $1 for every. I think the new amount is for every 3, but I read something that it's for every 2 now. So you make $2 past whatever they say you can make, they're going to deduct $1 from your federal payments. So be very careful what you're doing with Social Security, because they're not, they're like the IRS. They're not the people you want to play with. They have unlimited resources to take you on. And it's like screwing with the IRS. They will climb up every orifice you have. So know where you're going with this. Know what you're doing. Know what your limits are, and know how to report it. Take the time and educate yourself. It is save your life, your family's possessions, everything. If you're doing it for the business, keep it the business. If you're doing it for personal, keep it for personal. Keep your business from your personal very, very separate. So, uh-oh, what's going on here? Did we lose everybody? I'm not giving out information that is bad, okay? I'm giving out information that everybody should be doing if they're going to keep it to a business to supplement so they can stay alive. They still have to track it. Then they should be knowing exactly every move of every inch of the way that they're doing.
I apologize for my internet, guys. I don't know what is going on tonight. It is just acting a fool. I do apologize. Yeah, like I said, you guys are more than welcome to come up. Feel free to discuss this. We're going to try to keep this a little bit more simpler from here on, because I, basically the rule of thumb is if you think that you should keep the receipt, track what you're doing, then do so. It's kind of like when I'll bring an analogy. If you have to ask, should I grade this coin? Don't grade it. If you don't
Yes, we
have to
do know
ask,
for a
send it in.
fact, Sir Gold. It is a fact.
I'm waiting for my chat to catch up because it's still being silly.
I'm sorry. Sir Gold asked, do you know for a fact that the payment system we use, whether it be PayPal, Venmo, yada yada, they'll send a 1099 if we have the amount required? Yes.
Yes, I'm going to share my screen again, and we're going to read real quick from the IRS. Entire screen, allow. Okay, and 5 things.
Just
Right.
an FYI for
Five things to
everybody.
remember
This
about the
is
hobby
always
income and expenses.
just an FYI for everybody. This has always been a law, except the amount was of $500 before. Okay,
It was um,
it
so
wasn't
from
as big as it is now in forcing these companies to track everyone.
okay, so the this came back out in November 21st, 2017 as a tax tip. From scrapbooking to glass blowing, many Americans enjoy hobbies that are also sources of income. A taxpayer must report income on their tax return, even if it is made from a hobby. Okay. Determine if the activity is a business or a hobby. If someone has a business, they operate the business to make a profit. In contrast, people engage in a hobby for sport or recreation, not to make a profit. So that is what the IRS is saying is the difference between a hobby and a business. If you're doing it to try to make a profit or increase your financial wealth, however, it is a business. That's just I'm just telling what the IRS is saying here. A hobby is something you, the sport or a recreation activity, not to make a profit. Taxpayers should consider 9 factors when determining whether their activity is a business or a hobby and base their determination on the facts and circumstances of their activity. For more about the nonprofit rules, see that blah, blah, blah. You guys can go to this. After this is done, I will have all these links that I have. You guys can spend your time, go through these, and read all this, like I said, on your own leisure time to educate you more. There will be links in the description after this live stream is done. Allowable hobby deductions. Taxpayers can usually deduct ordinary and necessary hobby expenses within certain limits. Ordinary expense is common and accepted for the activity. Necessary expense is appropriate for the activity. So certain limits you can deduct. You'll have to learn what those are. Limits on hobby expenses. Taxpayers can generally only deduct hobby expenses up to the amount of hobby income. If hobby expenses are more than its income, taxpayers have a loss from the activity. However, a hobby loss can't be deducted from other income. How to deduct hobby expenses. Taxpayers must itemize deductions on their tax return to deduct hobby expenses. Expenses may fall into 3 types of deductions, and special rules apply to each type. See publication 535 for the rules about how to claim, so and so forth and so on. So and we're going to click on 9 factors just to see what they say about the 9 factors. So question, how do you distinguish between a business and a hobby? This is a lot of people's question. That's why I clicked on this for you. In making the decision between a hobby or business activity, take into account all facts and circumstances with respect to the activity. A hobby activity is an activity not done for profit. This includes activities done mainly for sport, recreation, or pleasure. No one factor alone is decisive. You must generally consider these factors in determining whether an activity is a business engaged in making a profit. Whether you carry on the activity in business-like manner or maintain complete and accurate books and records, whether you have personal motives in carrying on the activity, whether the time and effort you put into the activity indicates you intend to make it profitable, whether you depend on income from the activity for your livelihood, whether your losses are due to circumstances beyond your control or are normal in the startup phase of your type of business, whether you or your advisors have the knowledge needed to carry on the activity as a successful business, whether you have successful in making a profit in similar activities in the past, whether the activity makes a profit in some years and how much profit it makes, whether you can expect to make a future profit from the appreciation of the assets used in the activity. So, like I said, all this will be in the description below, but that is what this is, and this is just what the IRS says is a difference between a business and a hobby. I'm sure there are many factors that you can take into the account, we'll stop sharing that, remove, there we go, of what you want to call a business versus, a hobby. So I wanted to share that with you because of the things, when you're just stacking, like say you're going to your LCS and you're just stacking or you're just collecting coins, that is a hobby. Here goes my internet again.
If you're just stacking for your personal use, you don't need to turn that in.
Yeah, that's just a hobby.
It's when you start selling it for money is when you start getting into what I've been talking about.
But not necessarily, because say if you came, everybody knows I'm saving up for my own store. If you are coming to my store and you sell some of your silver to me and I pay you cash, like most of them do, then for you, because you sold that to me and I gave you cash, that does not get taxed on you at all. It will for me because I'm a business and that's money, the inventory that I've got to put because it's worth something and I've got to put it in my books, not necessarily yours. The only way you get taxed on it, again, is with the third-party apps. Okay, we can keep going. I'm sorry. I'm trying to simplify this for everybody because I know so many.
It's big and huge, in depth. There's a lot to learn, and you cannot even possibly go over everything. And I know plumbers in the chat going, "No, that's not right." It is right. What I am explaining is acceptable accounting procedures. It has its own name. It has its own laws and all kinds of stuff, and you really should follow them. I mean, what I'm saying, you don't have to make a category for everything. Okay? It depends on how much taxes you want to pay on something. I mean, if you're pulling in $600 a year, just taking that $600 range, the average taxpayer pays about 15%. That's $90. You get away from that when you start taking your deductibles, your consumable products, your equipment, your whatever. That lowers down what your tax is that you have to pay. So, don't freak out that you're getting a 1099. Yeah. Start thinking about what deductions you get to take against that amount. So
said something. Welcome, D-Reese. Thank you for joining us.
You buy a coin for $35 and you make $50 on it. You're responsible for $15 of that. But that adds up.
Okay, so Rosebud.
Are you talking, Money? Because we can't hear you. I can't anyway.
I think he froze.
Again, poor guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I'm not trying to scare people. I'm trying to prepare people.
Yeah, let me throw my 2 cents in here real quick. Most people aren't going to need to worry about it. That's the biggest thing here, I think. And that's what I was trying to say earlier in the chat, but I don't think anybody was getting it. But if you're not going to be spending a ton of money doing this, it's not going to affect your taxes that much. If you're, like I do it, and I sell stuff in order to buy stuff. It's not a business. It's not.
But see, that's why you keep track of what's going on, because you buy and you sell. So what? You're going to get a 1099, but what are all those deductions going to be? You buy $1,000 worth of stuff, but you have $950 worth of deductibles.
Well, but that's the whole point is, see? And that's where I think, like I said, if you're a stacker, spending
If you're a
money
stacker, you're only buying. You're only promoting your own personal stack.
correct. But
You're
you're still
not
going to
selling
be
back to the community. When you start selling back, I mean, even right
correct.
now, most coins we're paying $50 on. Okay, whether it be in $5 increments for 10 different people, it's still a $50 coin. You turn around and you paid $5 into a game and you won that coin, you turn around and you sell it for $50. You only have $5 to deduct. So you have to pay the difference between your deductions and what you got for that coin.
Correct. But again, if all you're doing is playing $5 games, you have to play 30 games a year to even get hit by it.
Right.
And if you pay by different apps, then no one app. If you do 15 through PayPal and 15 through Cash App, guess what? You're not going to hit the limit on either one of them.
No, my point isn't that you're a stacker or it's a hobby. Okay, and this
But that
goes
makes a
right back to that
difference.
$600 a year.
Correct.
If
But
you buy 12 coins in at $5 games and you turn around and you sell those 12 coins for $50 each, you're getting a 1099.
correct.
Now you have to pay
But
taxes on that $600.
correct. But again, the gaming thing is going to be the biggest issue because you paid $5, but you got a $50 coin. If you buy a $40 coin and then sell it for $45, you're not going you're going to end up with less money. But the average person doing this, and I'm not talking about the big auctions and the people that do a lot of high dollar stuff like money, but the average person like me, it's not gonna affect your taxes that much.
No.
Even if you get a 1099 for $1,000, it's not going to affect your taxes that much. So the idea that someone, like I said, someone like me, there's no way that I need to go get a business license and set up a business because I will never get to a limit where it's going to affect me that much. Whereas if you're just getting a 1099 for 600 or let's say $1,000 from PayPal, that $1,000 isn't going to affect my taxes in the least.
Right. And this is another thing to think about, and everybody's tax thing is different with this. I mean, you say you get a 1099 for $3,000 for the year. You did PayPal, you get a 1099. Well, but you got 3 kids. Okay, so you're already going to get all that child tax credit, everything else. So that's already going to get paid.
Well,
so
now you're crossing over. You're crossing.
I know, but I'm just saying for
there.
certain people, what I'm saying is because I wasn't done is with your child tax credit that's different, because you got kids, but it's going to be different for each person because, like Sir Gold brought up, he's like, okay, I'm retired, we're on disability, so everybody's different. You got to look at your own, how is this going to affect me? Now, we're not here to scare anybody. In all honesty, a lot of us, this isn't going to affect you in the least or very minute if it does. Unless, you're like me. I am going to throw some names out there, no disrespect to them. But if you're like, you're in the chat, if you're like Plumber Stacker, he does a lot of, auctions. Big T Mama T, they do auctions. Saka Plata, Big Flip, he does auctions, stuff like that, along with coin roll hunts. It can affect us a little bit more. It's still not going to necessarily scare us or hurt us, but I just don't want, the people that are the hobbyists, like D. Reese and other people, it's not going to hurt. It's not going to affect you that much. I'm just bringing this up so that you guys understand the new laws. So next year when you start getting all these 1099s in the mail, you're not scratching your head going, oh my crap, what am I going to do? That's not what this is for.
But like Ike's girl said, the most important thing is just to keep all your receipts.
Right.
And that's the one thing as a hobby we need to start doing are sending receipts when we send a package. And that's the most important thing we hobbyists and everybody else need to do. Because
You're
like
absolutely right.
I don't send a receipt when I send stuff out that somebody won for me today on the flea market. I don't send a receipt, but we need to. And that's the one thing that all this for this and I'll step back and say I'm speaking just for the small $1,000 or less a year person like myself, or even 2,000 or less a year. Getting into the expenses and deductions and all, you're not going to need to do that if you're just buying the coins you want and every once in a while selling one, because you're never going to get a profit. Or if you do, it's not going to be big enough to make a difference. You'll still get the 1099, but it's not going to affect you. And if
Right.
and like Texas Joe was saying,
let's put it out this way. Can I interject here? Just for the chat, have you bought over $50 worth of coins through any cash app over, per month? Put a 1 in the chat for yes, 2 for no.
every month?
Every month.
Oh, over $50 per month.
$50.
No.
Yeah. That you paid through a cash app to get.
No.
Some
months,
have,
yes, some months no.
Now, for me, can I put a whole bunch of ones? Because I've definitely done that.
No, just one time is enough. I mean, that's what's going to affect you, okay? If you've bought, so much a month through just for personal stack, I don't care if it's personal, business, or otherwise, that's tracked. That's what I'm talking about. If you have paid $50 or more a month through a cash app process.
Texas Joe said, repeat the question, please, Ice Girl.
That's what I just did. So, whether it's, 10 games at $5 or buying a coin outright for 45 here and 30 there, whatever. That's what you're going to get. That's what you're going to see.
Yeah. But Sir Gold.
And that's why I was going through, what things you need to keep track of is so you can deduct every part of that, whether it's business or personal, so you can explain it when you have to do your taxes. It doesn't matter whether it's a business or not. It's an asset that's reported to the IRS. So, yeah, that's why I was going through everything I was talking about. You don't have to do it. No.
Well, no, but like I
LJ
said,
paid for.
It's too much for. It's going to confuse a lot of people because, like Sir Gold, you've got nothing to worry about. You're not going to use enough, and if you do, I mean.
I wouldn't give that information. He was talking about Social Security, so they're going to scrutinize what he's doing.
I'm on disability also.
That what they're going to do is they're going to take these cash apps, because when you applied for that account, it gave your Social Security number. And they're going to send that information to the Social Security office. So, yeah. Be aware of what you're doing.
Yeah, and like I said, guys, this is, for this tonight, this is just for the third-party apps, things of that nature. We're just trying to get you aware that, 1099s are coming. It's going to affect some more than others. It's not going to affect the hobbyists that much. For me, I'm going to say it's not really going to affect me that much. I already, and for those that we already have a side business or something of that nature, you're already getting used to 1099, or you're getting used to holding a lot of receipts and paperwork trail and things of that nature. So this is just for you guys, because the main thing out of all of this, if you get anything of this tonight, what we're basically trying to say is in 2023, when you start getting your 1099s and they're 2,000, 6,000, 5,000, whatever the amount is, 5,400, whatever. What the IRS and what they're saying, as far as this is a hobby, or, like I said earlier, this is not just for precious metals. We're talking about, the pop figure community. We're talking about the sports card community, NASCAR, baseball, football cards, Magic, whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. You are going to have to prove that not necessarily that this is business or a profit. Because what I'm getting at is, say me and D. Reese went to dinner. I forgot my wallet at home, but I cashed out him $100, for mine and the wife's part of dinner, whatever. I'm just saying. D. Reese is going to have to prove that $100 somewhere if they ask, okay, that $100 you just got from, Billy Miner, everybody knows my name, Billy Miner on March 22nd, 2022. Can you prove that $100 wasn't for a business transaction? It was just for, a friend giving back money, because they're cracking down on it. So that's all Ike's girl is saying, is save all of your receipts. So that way, if you do get asked, like Texas Joe was up here earlier, he's been audited plenty of times. That's all we're saying is maybe you're saving receipts you may think that you don't need, or you may not need, but it's better to have them than not have them. And that's basically what we're saying, for this part of the segment of it. Just Ike's girl is trying to make sure that you don't, prepare you, that you don't get in trouble. And I know it's lengthy, and I do apologize, and I know she does, but like she said, she's just scratching the surface. And those that, you guys have done your own taxes or worked in accounting, or you have gone to college for this, you guys know that what she's talking about tonight is just barely scratching the surface. And I know it's a lot, and I know people are getting confused, and I do apologize on that. So that's why we're trying to simplify this as best as possible. And again, anybody is welcome to come up. The StreamYard link is posted. I do apologize for my internet. Plumber, you're more than welcome. Texas Joe, you're welcome back. Rosebud, anybody is welcome. Or I'm basically doing this for the sellers of the community, for people that sell on platforms like eBay stores, things of that nature. So you kind of know what's getting ready to come your way since Joe Biden signed this into law on the 1st of January on New Year's Day. Yes, you can.
Actually, it only went into effect January 1.
Well, I know, but that's what they're saying on the news, is that's when it's, I know he signed it before then, but they're saying it got signed in and went into effect on the same day. So I'm just reiterating what the news has said on it. It started January 1st, so that's all I was saying.
I would like to answer Plumber here. I know you weren't trying to be disrespectful, Plumber, and I know it's for a lot of people it can be disrespectful to give out advice. I am an accountant. I have done accounting. I have worked in the laws. I have so many parameters I have to follow. That's why at the beginning of this I said it's just going to scratch the surface, and everything I've talked about is just to kind of give you an idea of the stuff you can track. When you get into a company and when you start entering data for their books, you get this huge binder where they divide out literally everything. I mean, a Post-it note is different than a spiral binder. Right? And they have to divide it out. So, it's tedious. There can be a lot involved in it. That's why I am telling everybody, if you really want to know, go take a class at your local community college. It's so much.
And even for those that are still in college, I mean, take an extra course. Jenny said that she's still in college. I believe MIGS
Not
is still
2021.
incomplete.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still, yeah, this will only account, LJ. Let me clarify that. Yes, this only starts for 2022, not 2021. So this year when you file taxes, you're not going to get a bunch of those 1099s from last year. No. That you will start getting them in 2023. I will be getting them like I have been because me, like a few other people on YouTube, I am a dealer. I have the business license, I have the trademark certificates, I have the EIN numbers, I have all that. So yes, I'm in a different bracket. So yes, I already get these. I already deal with this. I'm no expert on it because I do my taxes up to a certain point, and then I do them with an accountant or a tax preparer at the rest of the way. I get it to a certain degree, and then just to make sure, I let them finish it just to make sure I crossed all my T's and dotted my I's. But that's for me. Like I said a few minutes ago, everybody's going to be different.
Well,
Whether
that's
you
can I chime in here just a bit? This is what you're doing all the data entry, right?
I'm doing the data entry, I'm going on to TurboTax, and I'm making sure that I have everything correct. I don't file anything. And then I take what what I've had on TurboTax and everything, and I bring it to them, and I said, "This is what I have." That I make sure I do all this right because I'm teaching myself, so eventually I can do my own in another year or two. So that's kind of what I'm doing, but that's just for me. That's nobody else. I'm not telling everybody to go out and do that. That's just me.
Yes, Jenny and Rosebud, yes. Anything you sell on eBay will start sending you a 1099K as well.
Yeah, eBay, Etsy, it does not matter. The ones that are going to get hit really hard are going to be the people that have eBay stores, Etsy stores. Small businesses are going to start getting hit a little harder on Amazon. It's going to be another one that I read an article on. Not here, but a business license is different from a dealer's license. Yes, because a business license just means I'm allowed to have a business. I'm approved by the state of, I'm in Arizona, so I'm approved by the state of Arizona to have a license. Now, say when I go to move and when I get my brick and mortar store, we're going to move out of state, so I will have to apply for a different business license. My dealer's license is not. My dealer's license, I can go to Texas and sell. I can go to Ohio. My dealer's license follows me. It is federal. They do have state ones and they do have federal ones. I decided to go with the federal one because I'm going to be going to North Carolina, Florida, Ohio. I'm going to be going to all different states and setting up at shows and things of that nature. That is my goal before getting the brick and mortar store. But that's going to be a few months or so down the road. Brick and mortar store is about 2 or 3 years down the road. So, but anyway, so yes, they are a little different, Plumber, and they are quite of a headache to get a hold of. The easiest things to get a hold of in your state is your trademark certificate. Say if you want to start a business, and precious metals, your trademark certificate is easy. It goes through the Secretary of Treasury of that state. I went ahead and got an EIN number or a tax prepared number from the IRS. All I had to do was just go to the website, apply for one. I had one in 5 business days in the mail. All I had to do is put in my social, my address, and they sent me one. Those are your 2 easiest things to get. Once you start talking business licenses, dealer's licenses, business licenses, there's many different categories. Because if you're doing precious metals, then you're in one category. But then what I mean by different ones is when you start getting into alcohol, different things of that nature. But we're getting kind of off a topic, and I do apologize. I want to keep it in a narrow lane, and I went for a second, so I apologize. But yes, we're going to get back on track. I apologize for.
Can I jump in here a minute?
Yeah, go ahead.
There are states like Oregon is. They don't pay taxes directly out of their checks and stuff. But know your state. know what's required of you. I'm not trying to scare people. I want to prepare you and know what you're looking for, so you save yourself. Some states don't take money directly out of your checks or whatever, like Oregon does. But each person at the end of each year is responsible for sending in that state tax. When you do a business, also, whether it's a home business and you do it through the internet or person to person sales, you also have to sometimes, just depends on where you are, and you should probably check into it. You're going to be paying taxes on federal, state, county, and city. So be aware that there are multiple levels of taxes that you may have to pay, and don't freak out over it. Just know that it's there.
Right. And we're not going to get into, everything that I bought, but you see this is the receipt. It's from a gold and silver buyer, this is what he gives out, whether every time you buy something from him, he gives these out to everybody, not just me, but anybody that buys things from him, whether it's one item, a whole list of items, you'll get one of these. So, if you're worried about that, and I do it because of inventory, profit margins, things of that nature for the business. If you want, start saving these from your LCSs. You may not need them for your hobby, but it's not going to hurt to just, have it, laying around. Put it in a folder somewhere. You never know when you might need it for some reason. That's what basically what Ike Girl was talking about, paper trail.
Dancing alone with rentals. That is a rare occurrence. You would have to have hundreds of thousands in question before the IRS would go after you. They don't have time to deal with small numbers. No agent will be assigned. That is not true. Part of this law for the $600, there's a backstory to it. They're hiring 87,000 agents, or some such freaky, outrageous number of employees to start tracking even the little guy. That was part of the law. And that money came out of that bill that was signed. So be aware that, yes, they do have agents. And that's the whole intention, was to go after the little guy. Because regardless of how little you are, you could have 10,000 of the same people earning the same money. And, if they owe $200 in taxes, you're talking $20,000 that the government could take. They're going after the little people. That's all. That's what all of this is about. Don't think that it isn't.
Sorry, Texas Joe. What did you mean by that? Make sure this is not archived. I'm still dealing with my internet issues over here. I don't even know if I'm frozen at the moment.
You're partially right, Plumber, on, part of the reason was crypto.
Yeah, crypto was a big thing because of just what it is. But burn this video when you're done. Yeah.
If you say 30 people out of every 100 across the United States are doing a home business under the table, think about all that tax money that they're not getting. That's what they're going after.
Yeah, so like I said, it's just here to explain and discuss a little bit of the new law that's in effect. I'm sure there's going to be questions being floating around for the next few weeks, and people are going to be out there that can answer them for you, that already dip into this. So feel free to hit people up, things of that nature. If you guys have got, we've got each other's emails. If you have a question and maybe we don't know the answer, we can forward it to somebody that might, of that nature. So D. Reese. Still with us? Oh, indeed. I guess not. Yeah,
What?
yeah, this will slow down. Yeah, I was seeing if you're still with us, buddy.
Yeah, I'm here.
Chiming in.
I'm reading.
I'll let you chime in for me. Oh, yeah, 710. This will slow down a lot of this side money for many. You know, I can see where, yeah, that would. But really, like we were saying earlier, the 1099s, you know, for a lot of people aren't going to really hurt you. They're just, for certain people like D Reese that is, in the $1,000-$2,000 bracket, like he said, it's not really going to affect him much of any. Um, you know, people that are on a different bracket where you do use this like a side hustle, as the new term is, or side money or something like that, and it helps along with your getting your bills paid till the end of the month or something of that nature. Yeah, maybe you might want to talk to your tax people or different things like that, and just see, maybe this is, you're the one that needs to save all your receipts and start writing everything off, because you'll be able to do that, and then it won't affect you. It'll be more work for you on being at your computer or whatever and doing paperwork and everything like that. But like I said a while ago, this is going to save you thousands of dollars maybe in the long run. So
Let's see. Jason said something here. What about buying from an LCS that is cash only and doesn't write receipts?
then no, this has nothing to do with that whatsoever.
I know, but if you want a receipt so you can resell it, they cannot refuse you asking for a receipt. They have to give you one if you want one.
Right. Gary, you're more than welcome
It's
to
a
come
law.
up as well. Right. I mean, we're in a small city here, just across the river from Laughlin and Bullhead, and there's a IRS office here in town. It only has 3 IRS agents locally in the dang thing, but there's a little office here in town.
For those of you wondering how to write receipts or whatever, you can make one up on a Word document, print it out. You can go to Walmart and buy little receipt books that are duplicates. Make sure you get a duplicate. Okay. One for them, one for your own personal records. But, if you want to keep track of it, make sure you always get 2. One for you, one for them. So you could, bill of sales. Yeah.
Yeah, just to annoy everyone. That's why PayPal is good, because it keeps track of all your spending and all your receiving together in one place.
Well, Cash App does too.
Well,
there are ways through it that you can print out what you do. Same thing with Pirate Ship.
If you're invoicing through PayPal and you have invoices already set, they have that functionality to print invoices.
Yeah. Dizzy Giraffe, that doesn't always work because the money order numbers are tracked. So are cashier's checks. So, yeah. Be careful thinking you're going to get away with something when it is actually tracked. The banks have to account for every money order, every cashier's check, every debit or credit, everything. They all have their own categories. It's amazing to see the books that businesses like a bank go through, or the files that what was it? Texas Joe said for property. Any and all, it's just amazing the stuff that they track. A lot of people just don't understand. Banks track literally every number they ever put in anything.
Yeah, that is true. Everything is tracked these days. even every time you swipe your card at Walmart or gas station, it's tracked as well. Through a bank or a credit card finance, it's tracked somewhere. So.
Yeah, Billy, that's a good point that really should be talked about. This community has been very gracious and generous in helping people out, but that's going to be part of what you pay out now. So, I mean, if it's donations are all deductible.
There was a question in chat, and I'm not sure. I didn't mean to skip over this. If you're still here, thank you for being here. There was a question in chat, and I think it might have been Lambo that asked, or it could have been Plumber or somebody. What about giveaways? When you get to like a 2K giveaway or 1K giveaway, or just giveaways on your channel, how do you write those off?
Oh, it's a write-off. It's a deduction.
How do you write those off? That was the question.
Well, keep whatever you're doing, whether it's manual or digital, like through a spreadsheet or something, make a column for it. This is a donation, and you may think it's worth $25 or $5 or whatever. Make that donation amount work for you.
And so that's what I was going to ask.
It's worth $35, but you can sell it for $50. Write it down for $50.
That's what I was going to ask. So during taxes, sorry, D. Reese, but during taxes, this just goes under a charitable donation, I guess. Go ahead, D. Reese.
Well, no, it's a deduction from your income.
It's a free giveaway.
So you're going to deduct the amount that you paid for the item.
No. You're going to deduct the amount that it's worth.
Which is what you paid for it.
Not always.
Yeah.
I can get a deal and go buy an ASE for $25, but it may be worth $400.
So everybody's talking as it's a promotion. Okay, that's a good word to use too. Donations, promotions.
There you go. That's the word. Yeah. It's a promotional giveaway. Yes, you might buy it for $25, but it's worth $400. You're going to deduct the amount it's worth.
Plumber says it's like advertising. I don't know.
No, advertising goes under something else.
That would go under like your channel stickers, things like that. I brought that up earlier. Your channel stickers would be a promotional item. My business cards I send out are promotional. So
this is why I was explaining out all the different categories you can use if you're buying something. I personally I put pens and pencils and paper and highlighters all in different columns. And then it all, at the bottom, at the end, it all comes into one amount. That way I know how much each category I spent. So, yeah. But Billy brought up that thing, and I was like, yeah, donations are going to be a big thing because whoever collects the money is going to have to prove that. And this is where you're going to want to, instead of sending it through Cash App, take that money and go get a cashier's check and send it to the person through the mail.
Okay, so Kenny Springer asked, well, then why aren't eBay stores, Amazon putting tax on it, which they do every time? I put a PayPal through there's tax added.
Yes.
Depends on what state you're in.
Yeah, it depends on the state laws, the federal laws. But yeah, they have to have a donation designation, a 501c4. And I know that doesn't mean a lot to people, but they do have to have the charity donation or designation, sorry.
And then Eunice Torres says, if you stay donating to charity, it has to be recognized by the government if you're calling it a charity.
That's what I said. It's a 501c4. It has to have that designation. If it has a 501c3, don't donate. And then I'm going to advise you to check on how much actually goes to the thing you're donating for, and how much goes to actual operations of the contribution. I mean,
Texas show says local sales tax question mark.
that you will be told if you apply for a business license. They will give you a big packet. Everything in there will be there.
My Rosebud says it takes years to understand this. I have a simple form that tracks incoming and outgoing money, and that's what I said earlier. If anybody wants to email Rosebud, he will email you the form, and you can use it. You can move it around. I showed it on screen a little bit earlier for what I could with my camera focusing. But get with Rosebud, and it's a simple form. It looks like a Google Docs or sheet that he's been using for years.
Yeah, that's just incoming and outgoing. That's receivables and payables.
He said it's just a simple form. It's not for everything that you're doing. It's just to
but
kind of
yeah,
get you
you
some
should track
started.
everything else though too. There was one other thing I wanted to point out. Through Cash App, PayPal, they all take fees except for Zelle, I think. Track those fees too because they're deductible, guys. I mean, even if you're only taking in $5, Cash App deducts, I think, a quarter. Track that quarter, because at the end, after 365 days of taking $5 and they're taking a quarter, that adds up.
That's a lot of quarters.
It is.
Now, Cash App is only doing the fees when you transfer it to your bank. If you do it instantly, if you do the 1 to 3 business days, there is no fee. So that may be something else you guys want to think about. Just to get rid of, or something you don't have to figure out. Something. If you're willing to.
Cash App?
Yeah. I have a thing where.
I've never had that happen with Cash App.
I have a thing where I can, just like PayPal, I can do it instantly for a fee, or I can wait 1 to 3 business days and there's no fee. But again, I have a business one, not a personal one, so mine might be a little different then. So don't take what I said. It's all right.
That's the way they all are.
And Cash App takes an instant fee, though. If you take it right away, they take an instant fee. Like you're taking $5, but they're only putting $4.75 in your account. They've taken a 25-cent fee.
No, it doesn't take any fees from me.
No, that's true if it's instant, but you can do it where it sends it in 1 to 3 days and they don't charge a fee.
Right.
Now that's weird because that doesn't happen to me. If I leave it in there for 3 days, they'll automatically transfer it, but they'll transfer it after they deduct their fee. So I don't know. Maybe I need to update the app. Who knows? But
well, just when you go to transfer it, go manually transfer it, and it gives you 2 options: instant or the 1 to 3 days. And the 1 to 3 days, there is no fee.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Even after 3 days, it's still sitting there. I have to manually transfer it, and they still take out their fee.
Yeah, if you do it instantly.
No, after 3 days. If they don't automatically.
No, I'm gonna. Let me see if there's anything on my Cash App. I might have already.
I think you're misunderstanding. When you go to manually transfer it, there are 2 options. An option to instantly transfer it, or an option to transfer it and it'll take 1 to 3 days.
Okay, so all right, now
I don't have that option.
So right there,
I don't have that option.
Okay, so everybody should have this option because this is my personal one. So right there, I can take this $101 that's in there and instantly take that fee, and it'll go right now, or I can click the standard and it'll show up on my bank on Tuesday.
Your camera's not working.
No fee. Aww.
Wow.
You're dark.
Hang on. Like that there. Standard Tuesday. There's no fees. I can do instant for $1.52 fee. So it gives you the option.
But either way, those deductions, those fees are deductible as well, is what my point is. See, I only have the whether I do it instant or in 3 days when it's expired, it still takes the fee from me.
Joe, right. But I know I was just
See,
showing.
Billy's saying the same. Mine is the same way. Who
I
else
think
said that?
I think you meant mine where it could be instant, and because I was just showing it.
Yeah, but nobody can see you.
Well, I can't help that no one can see me. I got a freaking light on can over here. I'm so dark. Of course, when I go to sell something, it's going to be too bright and shiny. But as soon as I start having a discussion night, then of course I'm darker than dark. Way it goes. Yeah, Silver Coin Hunter said then you're getting screwed. You might want to look into your Cash App Ice Girl. I don't know. Because I've had this discussion with a few
Night
other people,
Plumber.
not in the coin community. About Cash App and stuff because they were hesitant on getting it. And when they signed up for it, they saw that they could get an instant with a fee, or they'll get it in like 2 days in their account with no fee. So I don't know.
Well, I may have to update. I don't allow my phone to update instantly because what it does is it gives permissions to the app to do whatever they want. And I'm really picky about what I agree to. Like if you allow instant updates without looking at anything, you're agreeing to let these other platforms use your information and the stuff you store on your phone any way they wish. And that's why I don't allow it.
Right. I would like to say thank you. We're not going to end the stream yet. We're probably going to end it another 30 minutes or so, guys. But I'd just like to say thank you for everybody showing up. Keeping the discussion within the lane. A couple of times we went out of it, and I was one of them. And I apologize for keeping it. So that way, for those of us that already know, it's a nice refresher. It's nice to learn from other people that have been doing this for years, and it's also nice to, maybe we might have helped someone out tonight that didn't know this coming up, and they might have learned something. So, that was the whole point of this. And like I said, you guys feel free. I did post the StreamYard link again. Feel free to join the panel. If you guys have something to say about it, you guys are more than welcome. Plumber, thank you for being in here. If you're still in here, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. If you're leaving, have a good night. But yeah, anybody's welcome, and we can keep this going. I just wanted to give my congratulations or no, my thank you out there for now, before the end. So
Thank you for having me. I'm sorry I dominated a lot. There's just so much information people should know.
all right, and like I said, you guys, anybody's welcome. You guys might have seen something that we have not covered tonight from a different news source. I don't just want to use one. Oh, okay. Well, thanks for chilling. But
read 710.
Can you start from the beginning? 710. You're rigged. Okay, we're just gonna call it that. Rigged. Let me see here. Looking at my tab, make sure did I get through all of them? Okay, so yeah, this is the other screen I wanted to share. I finally found it. I don't know how I didn't do this before. My internet will allow me because it's rude. Thank you, allow. Thank you very much. All right, so this is the frequently asked questions on payment card and third-party network transactions. These are just questions. These aren't the answers. I received Form 1099-K. How do I report it on my tax return? Separate reporting of these transactions is not required. However, you should follow the the return instructions on the form you are completing to report the gross or receipts or sales. You should report items that qualify as a trade or a business expense on an appropriate line of Schedule C, E, and F, which would be on your forms. Okay, so what is a participating payee? Why is this reporting necessary? So this is something else that I recommend you guys, go to the IRS and look this stuff up. There's a lot of frequently asked questions that a lot of your questions might get answered from the IRS itself. Then this is from the horse's mouth. All right, let's start that. What is Form 1099-K? The Form 1099-K payment card and third-party network transactions is an information return that reports the gross amount of reportable transactions for the calendar year to the IRS. So not calendar month, calendar year. So everything that you do that year. So I just want to make sure that was clarified.
Think of it as a W-2 from where you work, but on a different level.
How will IRS use the data? The IRS will use the data from the 1099-K to develop taxpayer education and outreach products and services and new examination and collection approaches. So that's the two ways that they're going to use the data on the 1099-K. Not too many people own a small business, so we don't need to deal with that. Well, hang on. I own a small business and also have a non-profit hobby. I do not accept payment cards for payment for either, but I do use a credit card and a third-party settlement organization to make purchases for both. Does the payment card reporting rules affect me? Okay, so if you're paying people, this is for you guys. No, the provisions for payment settlement and entity reporting affect only those businesses or entities that accept these forms of payments for goods and services. So again, just to reiterate, if you're just the buyer, you go to these auctions on YouTube, you go to JM Bullion, you go wherever. If you're just buying, then this doesn't affect you at all. It's when you go to start selling, that's when this affects you. So I don't need to read the rest of that. So yeah, there's just a lot of good payment plans and banking, just a bunch of different good stuff. No one likes the IRS, but when laws come out like this, you might want to take a few minutes and just go through and read it. So that's what I wanted to share with everybody. Let's remove that. So that's what I wanted to show. Right, Plumber. Good thing it's worthless. That's right.
The situation was presented
Right,
in
Texas
such
show.
a
I agree with
way
you.
that people would have to stay home and figure out how they were going to make money to survive, hence the internet sales, hence the new tax law.
See, a lot of those don't know the name Redline Gary in the chat. Redline Gary is one that me and Cajun go to a lot. He's in a small engine network, and they talk about motors, tools, and stuff. Every once in a while, on certain channels, they might sell some tools, or how we sell precious metals and stuff like that. So, for him, this is kind of the same thing. Not selling. He's not selling coins or anything like that. He does buy, but he doesn't. But so like I said earlier, this is not just for precious metals. Anything that you can sell. So as long as it's through that third-party app and it's over $600 a year, you will get a 1099, and that's what we're saying. Biden needs more money to send overseas. Let's see. I wouldn't have a problem with them if they use the money in ways that benefits those paying, but they don't. Yeah. Gary, that's actually really good. Gary says that. Here, I'll show it up here. I keep everything in a binder and send it with weekly, monthly, and yearly breakdowns, as well as sources of income. So, that's one way of you can do it. If that works for him, that works for him. That's not saying that's going to work for everybody, but that's a good thing. It works for him. It works. Everybody, you can do your own method.
Are those
Side
just the
note,
IRS agents, Plumber?
I just poured some silver plungers. Yeah, I thought, can that be considered a tool? A tool to bonk them on the head, maybe. 710, I'm right there with you. Yes. Yeah, I'm not going to say all that on panel, but yes, you guys have more free reign in chat over this. Like I said, I'm not here for. We're not here for. Who we hate, who we don't, but I don't know anybody that really, loves and sends cookies to the IRS. So I'm just going to say that. Welcome, Gary.
Yeah, how you doing?
Good, sir. Thank you for joining us. So you put, from what we just saw, you put all your stuff in binders, and you do it bi-weekly, monthly? Is that just your sales, or what you?
Well,
is that for?
I've
You do services, or?
Yeah, I've been self-employed since I was 18, and then I've worked like your standard 9-to-5 jobs and everything. But throughout the whole time, I've had a CPA, and the one thing that I've learned with the CPA is the more organized the data that you can give them, the faster they can work, and the cheaper that it is. So having everything broke down and itemized and everything, they fly right through it, and they can do whatever they need to do. And they're not calling me every 5 seconds, and then that's billable hours and things like that. So it's like it takes all the guesswork out of everything. And then because there's times where I might lapse on knowledge on something, and it happens.
Right.
And they could pick up on it right away and say, hey, look, well, for this month, this isn't balancing out. Did you forget something? Oh, God, yeah, here's this receipt. And it's better than the IRS getting a hold of it.
There you go.
So, with the race car stuff, the job that I have there is twofold. So I get paid for doing the automotive stuff, but then when I'm on the race team, that's a separate source of income. So to keep track of all of that with my 9-to-5 and everything else, it's just way easier to have everything condensed and all my expenses and things and whatnot. And because I'm contracted to build the race cars, but for the automotive stuff, I'm hired. So, it becomes complicated and quick if you're not on top of it. So that's why I just try to organize everything, send it to the CPA, and pray that I have everything right.
All right. And now I know it's a little different for you, but do you, being a 1099 and everything, do you file your stuff quarterly, every 6 months for, twice a year, or do you do it once a year?
I do it once a year.
Okay. Because that's kind of what I do. But I know once I get my brick and mortar store and everything like that, I'm probably going to, so it's not such a big ordeal, I'm probably going to break that down with the CPA and get that into quarterly.
Money. This is where when you're having people and you have to pay payroll, you don't have a choice. If you're making payroll for people, you are supposed to pay and do everything quarterly, and you have a deadline to get it in. Right now, I'm kind of dealing with a client where her boss never put in the hours for the last 2 years.
Lordy.
Yeah, it's a pain in the butt, and they have to prove it. Thank God they had all their pay stubs. But what happens is the employer ends up having to pay a fine for not doing what they're supposed to, or or making the taxes that they're supposed to match that the employee pays. So yeah, there's a lot involved. And if you're doing it for yourself, save yourself thousands of dollars, take a day a week and update your books. But
Right.
then
And
take it to a CPA office and let them do what they do.
right. And that's what I was saying. When I said I was going to go to quarterly, I was meaning to say that I want to have to, but I just worded it a little differently.
Yeah, you don't really want to get behind on those reports or 940s and 941s is what they're
Yeah,
called.
no,
Right.
yeah, no,
And you put them through your bank, and your bank takes care of reporting, but then you have to pay out that money to match what the employee did. Do
right.
not get behind on that.
Yeah, like Texas Joe said, there are apps that can do this for people. The water is good. Come on in. Now, the only thing I would be a little leery of those apps is, test the waters on them if you would like. If you're a little leery of those certain apps, see if there's a different one. For some people that's a good idea. For other people, it might not work for them because they might be a little scared of it. But that is a good idea. That thank you, Texas Show, for putting that in there. That apps are they got apps for this as well to help out. Your TurboTax is not your only go-to.
Right.
Oh, no. There's a lot of accounting programs out there that'll walk you through every step.
Dizzy, you got to be the funny one. Any recommendations on who can cook my books? You don't want to cook a book.
Yeah, no, you get people in a lot of trouble. When I started learning about accounting, one of my very first teachers told me, go into the forest, play around with the app, play around with the program, see what you can do and see what you cannot do. That's the only way you're going to learn. Do it as a just like a game you would play, something that you wouldn't keep. But that's the way you learn these new programs.
Well, D. Reese, I don't know. What about if your employees work for free? Well, if you can get employees to work for free, I need them to come my way because I am so
Right.
tired.
Well, there is a thing of having volunteers, but there's like a loophole with that. But it
Right.
becomes a very dangerous circle, and you have
The
to
only
walk
place
a
I really
very
ever
fine
see
line.
volunteers, and this is the only place I really see volunteers, is hospitals. Because they're like the candy stripe ladies or whatever. They're usually
Library.
retired and they're just, or library, yeah. And they're just there for only like a couple hours kind of thing. It's called kids. Oh boy.
One big thing is don't forget to pay yourself through your owner's equity.
Yes.
A program will do it itself, but don't forget to pay yourself. And remember, and when you're paying yourself, you're paying your own taxes, but you're also paying your employer's taxes. So where you end up, depending on deductions and whatever, you pay 15%. You're as an owner, you're paying 30% on your own.
Yeah.
Good night,
and
Rosebud. Sorry, Ike, real quick. And if everybody, if you want that form, that Google sheet that Rosebud has, all he said is just, guys, email him. He will send it over to you. You can take a look at it. Whether you want to use it or not, it might just be good. Just like, hey, I like what he's doing, but I need it for different categories. So that gives me an idea to do my own. Do it that way too. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ike Girl.
Oh yeah, I was just saying, if you don't pay yourself throughout the whole year, it's going to look very suspicious to the IRS, and they will start crawling. Make sure you pay yourself.
Yeah.
Dizzy, you don't want to organize my silver until next weekend.
It doesn't stay around long enough.
Well, these I got 10 different packages coming in. So it's kind of depleted over here a little bit. Okay, well, it's not that depleted, but it's a little depleted. But you'll want to organize it next weekend, not right now.
Yeah.
Before Gary's kids organize it all for me.
For those of you running huge streams and stuff, use your moderators. Have them help you make lists and take a picture and send it to you. It'll help you in the long run keep things straight. I do a couple of for EC, he throws them away. He's going to be asking for them back, but yeah.
Texas,
So you can be very specific in what you're doing every day.
Texas Joe, that was just.
Always wanted
I
food
don't want to
because
put
of
all the
the
names out
food.
there. Those are just
Um,
what I wrote down of who's got stuff coming, who's mailing me stuff. I already got a whole
Yeah.
Jason,
package table over
to
there.
answer your question, no, that's not just for business. If you're doing like a home business for extra income, yeah, you don't have to go through all that paying yourself stuff. But if you're doing it for a business, make sure you take it through paying yourself because it's a
Yes.
deduction. So, payroll is always a deduction. I don't care who you are, what you do. But if you're just doing it for, yourself as an extra income, no, the income is yours. But I highly, highly suggest you separate out what you do for sales and purchases of a hobby to personal stuff. It just keeps your books and whatever you do very clean.
710, not yet. I'm getting those tomorrow. I haven't been able to get up to him that has those. So as soon as I get them, I will get them out to you by Tuesday. Yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah, I'll get those out to you by Tuesday. I haven't been able to get up to him yet because I've been sick with bronchitis and everything, and I'm at the tail end of it. That's why you hear me coughing sometimes. But they'll go out Tuesday, and I'll send you a tracking then.
Yeah, see, I know with my own finances, it becomes complicated because not only do I have multiple streams of income, but I have investments with the dividends and things like that. And then it gets really insane to try to keep track of everything just by myself. Because when you're working 16 to 20 hours a day, who has time for that?
Right. And
It
yes,
makes
Lambo.
perfect sense to push it off to a CPA and let them do their job. And
Well, Lambo, on the bright side, they increased it $100. It was $500, but it wasn't being tracked as it is now.
Yeah, and Lambo, I agree with you. I understand the 200 transactions or 20,000 a year. I can get that because if you're at that point, you're obviously doing it for a side hustle, a side business. So I understand that one.
yeah,
But if you're talking $600 a year, to me, you're still in a hobby category. At that point, if you're selling,
one point could be $600.
Right. I mean,
The
exactly.
reason-
I mean, well,
The
and
reason why 600 was chosen is because that's the cutoff for some federal programs like welfare.
okay, but I understand that, but again, without getting too far away from the topic at hand, those shouldn't have been to begin with.
But they are, and they've
I
always
know
been there.
they are. They have always been. I'm just saying they shouldn't be. But then you could get into a discussion. There's a lot of things that shouldn't be.
Yeah.
That are laws and written. That's just a whole new.
There's a lot of things going on that
Yeah.
shouldn't be allowed as well. But this has always been something. If you're so deserving and your paperwork
That copper barrel
is such that you can get on welfare,
Oh,
how come you have
You mean
$600
that
or
one?
$700 or $800 coming in under the table? And that's
Gary.
what the
you
hype
mean
is
that one?
for.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to get them to take the trash out, and it's not
Go take
motivation.
the trash
is
out
not-
for your dad, or I'm not sending it to you.
Bribery will get you everywhere.
Yes. Wonder if I can get that on a tax deduction.
I don't know. Use it for payroll or something. I don't know.
Hey, I'm going to try that. No, I'm kidding.
Right?
Oh my goodness.
That was a business expense.
Yeah.
Right.
And
That
for
was
those of you
$600.
that use like Pirate Ship or something like that, there is a function in there that you can get your reports printed. It'll
Yeah,
print out everything you've spent in a month, so and it'll list out each and every person.
Does it? Because I use Pirate Ship. Let me go in and look at that while
It does
everybody's
it.
here.
think
I
it's
don't
like
use, because I know there's stamps.com and other stuff, but I do use Pirate Ship. Oh yeah, it's under
there's
reports.
it's like the
It's under
second one from
reports.
the bottom.
Yeah, it's under reports, and it
Yep.
gives you total
Tells you
shipping costs,
exactly
total
who you sent it
payments.
to and how much that package cost to send it.
Yeah, and it gives you yeah, right there, and it will itemize your stuff per month, per year. Yeah, okay. Well, I'll get into that later.
Yeah, I like Pirate Ship, except the only thing it doesn't do is do individual letters. I would like to see that be explored for them.
Nerd, you're more than welcome to come up. Anybody else who wants to come up? No. Price on silver plungers are about to skyrocket. Well, plumber, you're pouring them, so yeah.
Yep.
If you take your stuff to the post office, well, you're losing a lot of money there. I think, Jason, weren't you and I the ones talking about that? Somebody and I was. They were like, yeah, I couldn't figure out how come everybody was only charging $5 for shipping when I was paying 10 and 11.
Yeah, I
the
did.
post office charges an extreme amount. They go to the next higher dollar and then some.
Yeah, and real quick, I'm gonna the topic for just a second. Stamps.com will charge you a membership fee each month. Pirate Ship, there is no fee. You just need printer and ink, so we'll just leave it at that.
And Pirate Ship is pretty cool because if you void that printout, that label, they will give that money back. If your package is, if you said, oh, my package weighs 2.5 ounces, but it only really got scanned in at 1.9 ounces, they're going to refund you money.
Okay, so this guy here, and I showed this earlier, you can see what he puts on everybody's name. He puts cash. Okay. He only accepts cash. He doesn't do, for his business, and this is how he has it set up. He has no online business whatsoever. He does not accept anything through, he never has, not because of the law, he never has. No PayPal, Venmo, credit cards, anything. If you don't bring cash, you get nothing. That's how he operates. So I'm just letting you know there are dealers out there that still do that. And he said that he doesn't do it not for the IRS. He does it for him so it's less paperwork for him for the IRS, because he is still a sole proprietor even though he owns his own shop, because it's only him working. There's no other employees or nothing. So it's less paperwork for him, so he's not sitting there, till 2 a.m. after he closes to get all his ducks in a row. That's what he does. But anyway.
Also, plumber, I know you said that's an unexpected refund. At the same time, though, don't cheat Pirate Ship, because if you say it's 2 ounces but it weighs out at 6 ounces, they will go into your account and take the difference as well. So just be true and honest. It's always best.
Right. So Gary, once we shut this down, don't go anywhere. I'll talk to you for a minute behind the stage. But guys, we're at the 2.5 hour mark, or almost. So I appreciate, we are going to get to winding this down and shutting it down. I do appreciate everybody that came out. I do appreciate all the questions, all the input, all the knowledge. I've learned a lot tonight, not just from Ike's Girl, but from Texas Joe, Plumber, other people. I have learned a few things myself. I appreciate you all being here, being part of this discussion. I appreciate everybody that was on panel tonight, and keep it within a certain lane for the topic, and it's greatly appreciated. I sure thank you for all your knowledge as well. Gary, thank you for coming up and sharing yours. D. Rees, Texas Joe, thank you for sharing your 1099 experience and everything. I do appreciate you guys. And take what we started tonight and keep moving forward. There's a lot of people in this community here that already do what Ike's girl is talking. Save your receipts, organize, Rosebuds offering to give out forms through an email. So take what you can get. This is a great community, and we will help each other out through this. If there's any more questions or anything like that, feel free to hit up somebody on a different stream or something like that. And if that person doesn't know, I'm sure someone in chat might know. Or the person holding the live stream or the show at the time might be able to answer it for you. It might be off topic of what they're doing, but they might answer it for you.
Thank you, Money Maniacs, for asking me to be here.
You're welcome.
I know
Yeah,
I went
thanks,
past.
Mona.
I'm sorry if I confused a lot of people. If you have individual questions, I will answer a few through email. Just email me. But I'm not going to do this whole I'm your teacher, you're my student learning thing. I'm not going to go there because I charge by the hour, and I charge a lot by the hour.
Right.
So if you have just a question or two, yeah, go ahead and email me, psychsgirl7178@gmail. I will be happy to help. But if it's going to get in detail, I'm going to send you to a CPA.
Right. All right. Well, everybody, we're going to tell you again one more time. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Have a great night. I appreciate everybody showing up. I wanted to start this mainly for the sellers. That way you guys might have learned something. I know I definitely learned something. And thank you all again for being here. Until next time, guys, this is Money Maniac signing out. You all have a good night.